After 27 years as an intel officer, you may not know this about me, but I'm a deadhead. Never turned it off or tried to hide it from anybody, but I just never exposed it as one of the things that I really enjoyed. I always tried to distance myself from one of the dead's primary uh, things that they are associated with, and that's illicit drugs. Uh, you can dig the dead without doing the drugs, and I'm a great example of that. I
Mhm.
really like where the music takes me. I like how it makes me feel, and it really does something for me and cheers me up whenever I'm feeling blue. And there's lots of others like me. In fact, on Tuesday, I was wearing this very hat that my beautiful wife got me for Christmas, and I was on a plane, and the guy that was sitting next to me recognized the hat, and we started talking about the dead for 30 minutes. Uh, that's not an isolated story. That happens all the time. There's lots of us out there, and it's a wonderful community that just really enjoys talking about the band and the music and the stories behind all of that. Uh, but it's not just about the community and the music. It's also the experience of seeing a Grateful Dead show. There's a saying out there that goes by, "There's nothing like a Grateful Dead concert," and it's true. If you've ever been to one, you can attest that there is nothing like a Grateful Dead concert. They can be a run of 3 nights in a city, and you'll go to one night, hear one set of music. Go to the next night, it's completely different, and the third night, something totally different. There's never the same show twice. Uh, so because it's never the same show twice, people want to go see show after show after show. And it doesn't matter if you've been to one show or 5 shows or 105 shows, you want to see one more show. So in 1994, I had the opportunity to go see one more show. I had concert tickets to go see the Dead at Soldier Field, the 2 nights that they were going to be playing there. The very next weekend, but the 4th of July weekend, they were going to be playing in Noblesville, Indiana at Deer Creek. And I had an opportunity to go see him. Now, the problem was I didn't have a car or a ticket. So I didn't know how I was going to get down there. So I started talking to some of my friends around college, and nobody wanted to go with me. Nobody wanted to take the journey to go on the quest to go see one more Dead show. So I was committed to going to see the band, even though I didn't have a ticket or a car. So I did what I could do to get there, and I rode my bike. It was a blue Schwinn 10 speed that got me from class to class to class, and that's how I was going to get there. Now I tried all day to get a ride down to the concert, but no one would give me a ride, so I had to leave that night. So I ended up leaving around 9 o'clock at night, and I went to 7-Eleven and I bought a jar of peanut butter, a loaf of bread, some bottled water, and a map because I could get to where I was going. And I got on the road about 9 o'clock, and down the road I went. And sometime around 10 o'clock or something or other, a guy pulls me over because he almost hit me with the car and he's really worried about me. So he gave me a light stick. So now I had a light stick and I was going to be safe to go the rest of the way to the Dead show. Now it was getting late at night and I was getting tired because, I've been riding my bike since 9 o'clock and I just kind of just pulled my bike over to the side of the road behind some brushes and some ditch. And I just took a nap. I slept until I got tired or slept until I got cold. And when I got cold enough, I woke up and I warmed myself back up by getting on the other bike. It was still dark out, and I had the opportunity to see the sunrise over the Indiana cornfields, which sounds as magnificent as the sun coming up over the Indiana cornfields. But now I was hungry. So I wanted to get a bite to eat. No, I had my bread and my peanut butter, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a warm meal just to get this off my chest. So I walked into a place to get something to eat, and they found a seat for me right away. And I told them what I wanted. I want pancakes, bacon, and orange juice and coffee. And then I got up to go take a to wash my hands and face. And I walked in the bathroom, and I realized that not only was I dirty and stinky, but my eyes were completely bloodshot, and I had a Grateful Dead shirt on. So, needless to say, my food came out really fast, and before I was even finished with my food, the check came, They didn't want me in there for anything. And I got my check, which was fine with me. I had a place to go. And I got back on my bike and on the road I went. So I finally got into Noblesville, Indiana around 2:30 in the afternoon. And just like I found my friend on the airplane, I found a friend in the parking lot. He was a deadhead, and he had dreadlocks and dirty and ripped kind of shady clothes, sandals, Birkenstocks, and he wasn't shaved. And I knew he was one of my people. So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey man, how do you get to the venue from here?" And he goes, "Why do you want to go to the venue?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to go to the show." And he goes, well, haven't you heard? The show's been canceled. I go, why is it canceled? He said, last night there were a bunch of gate crashers. They rushed the gate and there was a riot. They had tear gas and dogs. It was a bad scene, man. It was a bad scene. I said, wow, wouldn't think that from a Dead show. He said, I know, crazy, crazy times, man. And he looks at me, and he looks at my bike, and he looks back at me, and he said, "Did you ride your bike here?" And I said, "Sure did." He goes, where are you coming from? And I said, Valparaiso, about 163 miles away. And he said, whoa, whoa, man, that sucks. And he looked at me and he looked back at his car, and it was filled with people and luggage. And he said, hey, man, I'd like to give you a ride, but I can't because my car's my car's already full. So I did what I had to do, and I got back in the on the road and rode my bike home. And when I got home, there was a message from my mom asking me to give her a call when I got a chance. And so I called her up, and she goes, where have you been the last couple of days? And I said, hey, why don't you put dad on the phone so I could only tell the story once? And I told the story. And to this day, even though I've been all over the world to all these kinds of exotic places, whenever I call my dad and say, hey, dad, guess where I am now? He says, Indianapolis.